Go.
The case of Malachi Z York. The master teacher went to Disney World 3 times. And the government said that when they found out he went to Disney World 3 times, they say he went to Disney World to have sex with underage children, which of course was a lie. And when the master got back the 3rd time from Disney World, he told us, he had a class with us, and he said, I went to Disney World 3 times. He said, I'm going to turn Tamaray, our 476 acres, into a Disney World. This was his reason for going to Disney World. And he said that I'm going to send some of you brothers down there and put in a proposal that we're going to rezone our land to commercial and all the things we're going to put on there: hotels, golf course, tennis courts, schools. So he wanted to turn 476 acres into a Disney World. And when he sent some representatives to put in the proposal, when they saw the proposal, they said, wow, look at this. They saw all the things the master wanted to put on us, our land, 476 acres of land. And what really bothered them was he's going to be a boss to hire people. That's what scared them. He's going to be the boss of not this county of Edenton, but the whole other counties in the area. They're going to be coming to him for jobs. That means he's going to be the head of all these people. He'll be their boss. That's what really bothered them. So the next thing we saw was George, they had killed the master teacher's father-in-law in a hospital there. And they found out he had several sponges left in his body that killed him. And we found out that they were killing him, the master teacher's father-in-law, thinking that was the master that they were killing. You see? So they left 9 sponges in him to kill the master, not knowing that that wasn't him. It was his father-in-law. So the next thing you know, we saw George Bush Jr. get on the scene. And they came and they said, the master said, they're trying to make a Waco. He had another class with us. He said, they're trying to make a Waco on the land. He said, I'm getting ready to move off of Tamaray. I'm going to take some of the people here that lives on Tamaray with me because I don't want nobody to get hurt on the land. So he would move to Athens. He said, I'm going to still come back and teach, but I'm going to move, I'm going to open up the AEO office there in Athens, which is about almost 3 hours away from Tamaray. So the next thing you know, they arrested the master teacher. Well, let's go to the day that they came that day, and then we'll get back to that. I was coming to Tamaray to work that day, me and his other brother. And when we didn't live on the land, me and this brother, Latino brother, we was coming in to work that day, but we lived in Edenton where Tamaray was at, our land, 476 acres. But we were coming in to work, but we lived in the city of Edenton, but we didn't live on the land. So when we came into Edenton near the land, 3 cop cars rolled by us. The last cop car said, get the F out the way. So we didn't think nothing about anything about that. What happened was, as we got closer to the land, the last cop car that told us to get the F out the way, it was 2 white cops. They got out the cop car, and they had AK-47s in their hand, and they had them turned down on the ground and told us to turn around. As we turned around, and we turned it to one of our members' place there, and me and the brother got out the car, and the first thing we saw was helicopters flying our head. I said, guess what, man? They raiding the land, man. So we went into one of our brother's house there, got on the phone, we started calling everybody. I said, look, man, they're raiding the land right now. They're all on the land, the cops. So about an hour from that time, the whole parking lot of where the brother lived was without people there. And so the first thing they did when they came on the land was they knocked, there was 2 gates on that side that you come on the land at. They came through the first gate, not the main gate, the first gate. And they kicked the gate in, and they approached the first building they saw, not knowing there was all women and children in there. They kicked the door in and threw tear gas in there. And all of the women and children came out, and they thought it was a terrorist attack. And Master Teacher wasn't there that day. Because remember, he had moved off. Because he told us they're trying to make a Waco here. This is what he already saw. That was their Waco that day. Kicking in the doors, kicking in the gate. 9 brothers was on the land that day. All the other brothers on the land was working that day outside of Tamaray. They were working at their jobs. But they were, they lived on Tamaray, some of the brothers, but they were going to come back because they was at work that time. No, the Master Teacher wasn't there. They wanted the Master Teacher there because they were going to drag the Master out of his house and arouse the brothers to retaliate, and they would have killed everybody there, including the Master and the brothers. That's what they wanted. But see, the Master wasn't there. He had already told her he's trying to make a Waco here, y'all. Now let's get back to where the Master was at that day. The Master had a meeting with the pastors that day. The meeting was, when he got there at the meeting where they were supposed to be, he found out none of them came. Mm. So what he did was, him and 5 sisters who lived on Tamaray, they said, well, let's go shopping. So they went shopping, and when they got into the supermarket that they were in, the Master said, we're being followed, y'all, in the store. They didn't do anything in the store to the Master or the sisters because he had witnesses there. They waited till they got out the store. And the sheriff sent people, deputies over there. And what they did was they put AK-47s to the sister's head and the Master head. And, excuse me, let me correct that. What they did when the Masters came out of the store, they went into this van to leave. They waited till they got in the van, the deputies who waited for them outside of the store. And they took the back of their rifles and bashed in the back of the windows with all the glass falling on the Master and the sisters, and dragged the Master and the sisters out of the car. That's what they did that day. And stuck AK-47s to their head. And the Master said he looked over and he saw the sheriff over there. He didn't say anything. He was watching what his deputies was doing, like they was on order to do that. So let's go back to the case. And I'll finish up back there after that. So when they killed the Master Teacher's father-in-law, they thought that was the Master Teacher, and it wasn't. And they took the land, eventually, the 476 acres of land. And we found out that they found out that there was going to be a big event coming on Tamaray while they took Tamaray. The event was, guess what, y'all? They're expecting company here. Our ancestors was destined to come on the land, in the flesh, in their crafts. And they found out. They said, we got to take the land because they're going to take pictures and stuff, And how are we going to explain it to the people? This is what they said. So George Bush Jr. got involved with the case. And they arrested the master teacher. And what happened was, they said the master teacher, they said, they arrested him May 8th, 2002, because of the Philadelphia experiment, a vortex opened on this planet every 10 years. 43 was when the vortex, 1943 is when the Philadelphia experiment that opened up that vortex. It means every 10 years, the vortex would open. So from 43, 53, 63, 73, 2003 was the next vortex that would open when the craft was destined to come to the land. They said, oh man, we're going to have to do something because they're going to take pictures and we will not be able to explain who these beings are in their craft. So what they do, they arrested the master teacher, not 2003, a year before, May 8th, 2002. And they took Tamaray so they couldn't come on there. And jumping ahead for a minute, but they did come, our ancestors. They said, where did they come? They came to New York. The day that you had transferred the master to a prison cell there. And so how do you know they came? Because all of New York was blacked out that day, that's why. All day, all of a sudden. And it blacked out when you had the master in the plane taking them to the cell. And they came to the master in the airplane that you had them in and said, we came to get you. You don't have to go through this. And we'll take you out of that, your essence out of that body, and you'll think that you're dead. And we'll take you. They said, are you ready? The master said, no, I'm not ready. They said, we came to get you. Why not? You know what they said to the master? You don't got attached to your students. That's why you don't want to go. So they blacked out all of New York that day. Now let's switch back to the case again. George Bush Jr., the reason why he got involved with the case is because him and Reynolds Plantation, a man, Caucasian man, had property in Edenton where we had the land at, 476 acres. They had, listen to this, they had golf courses, tennis courts, everything that we were going to put on Tamaray. And they said, him and Reynolds said, we ain't going to have nobody, ain't nobody coming here now because the pyramids there. Nobody's going to come here now when they put all that on the land, so they rejected our proposal. Because of that, George Bush Jr. hired, when they arrested the master, he hired the judge. The judge was named Ashley Royal. We said, what's his name? Ashley Royal. I said, that name sounds familiar. I said, wait a minute. We said, wait a minute. That can't be the guy that defended the hospital that thought they killed the master or killed the master's father-in-law. It can't be the same guy that was the lawyer for the hospital, is it? Guess what? Same guy. George Bush Jr. made him the judge of the master's case. We said, oh, so this, we call this a kangaroo court. Well, we already know the verdict to that. And that's what exactly he did. And Jacob York, the master's son, the producer of Little Kim, got mad at the master. He asked the master for $1 million. They said, why? Because he wanted to prolong his case with Little Kim. The master said, you want to do what? He said, that girl take off her clothes on stage. He said, I can't help you produce her. And she gets naked on the stage and we got our feminine sitting here looking at that. He said, I can't be a part of that. You know what Jacob did? Jacob got busted with drugs in Atlanta. And what he did was, they said, look here, man, the FBI, We don't want you, we want your father. They said, you know what? Get some people together and file charges on your father, and we'll let you go scot-free. So, Jacob had an orgy party in Florida. And we had some sisters there that didn't take place of the orgy. They came back and told us everything that happened. They said Jacob had a meeting about asking people there, do you want to get on the FBI payroll? They said, just lie on my father, and you can get paid. Say he molested you. That's what Jacob, that's what the sisters told us that Jacob did at that party. They said first they had an orgy party, and then they had a meeting afterwards. That's what he said. And he said that Jacob promised that they could get some money by doing that. So the sisters came to court with us for the master teacher. To tell you what Ashley Royal, the attorney turned judge now, did. When the sisters was there to testify for the people who did that at the party, the judge ordered the jury out, the 12, 11 whites and 1 black, ordered them out of the courtroom and listened to the testimony of the sisters that was there at that party. Hearsay, he says. We're not going to allow the jury, the 12 jurors, to hear this. So he never let them hear it. And it was a hung jury. You know what a hung jury is? Hung jury is all of the 12 jurors, 11 whites and 1 black lady. 1 said not guilty. That was the black lady. She said, I don't believe none of this. She said, I know y'all framing this man. She said, I don't believe none of that. She said, not guilty. He went back and took the 12 back there, including the black lady. And she came out with a guilty plea with her head down like this. They forced me to do it. And we knew it. And they had us upstairs looking at it. We never saw the master, but this is what they did to the master of the courtroom. They had a block in front of the master, a big block in front of him, something that had never been done in court ever. They had a block here. They said, why do you have this block in front of the master teacher? We don't want none of the people that testified against him to see him, because we know if they look him eye to eye, they're going to change their mind. They put a block in front of the master. They had us upstairs. We never saw the master. We never saw those that testified against him, but we heard them on a big screen up there. When they went to Athens, where the master had moved at, they went under his bed. They said he had millions of dollars under there. And the master told us at class one day, he says, I have millions of dollars worth of credit. I have millions of dollars. He said, that's what he told us. And they went into his house and they put it on the newspapers. $500,000 was worth. Okay? So the master teacher, the government was frightened by the fact that the master would be in charge of a host of people. He would be their boss. That's what really started all this, because when they found out he wanted to rezone, they turned to rezone down. And then what we did, we went behind them. Of all the people that wanted to rezone their land, all was approved by us. Not to mention Wesley Snipes. Wanted to build a martial arts school across the street from us. The name was Amun Ra Institute. Amun Ra is one of our deities. And the sheriff says that was at the town. No, they turned it down. They turned it down. So the sheriff of Edenton, Sheriff Seals. Sheriff of Edenton, Sheriff Seals. I'll find it, man. It's there. I have it. First Shields tried to make a deal with the master teacher. Master told us about it. He said, y'all had a visit by Sheriff Shields today. They said, for real? I said, yeah. He wanted to make a deal with me. I said, what was the deal, master teacher? The deal was we had an entertainment building there. Entertainment building. In which a bunch of whites came every weekend. Dancing their butt off. And they never saw what our building looked like. Shields came and eventually looked at it. Glass walls, balcony upstairs. And glass walls, the entertainment was on the stage here, you way back in the back. You could look in the glass on the wall and see them entertaining with your back turned. That's how it was set up. And Shields came in and said, damn, look at this place. He said, look here, give me some money, I'll let you stay over. The old man said, that's what Shields asked him. Sure. He said, you know why I turned it down, y'all? We said, why? You can't make deals with the devil. Because they won't honor it. Right after that, Shields came down. The master refused to give him any money. I'm not doing that. What did Shields do after that? He came down to the entertainment center and started writing citations. Oh, this supposed to be, this mirror supposed to be 2 inches this way, this bathroom supposed to be 3 inches this way. He said, now watch this, y'all. He said, let's fix what he said we need to fix. And see what he does then. That's what the old man said. We fixed it. He never came back with the builder's inspectors. He said, didn't I tell y'all you can't make a deal with the devil? We so-called fixed the violations as he said it was. And he didn't even bring the inspectors back. He said, that's why you can't make a deal with the devil. So it was a hung jury at the case. And the master frightened them by wanting to make the land into Disney World. Now, you got any questions? Yes.
How was he treated in ADX Max?
Okay. First place the master went to was Edenton right there, where Sheriff Shields was at. Sheriff Shields came out with the master one day and tried to trip the master teacher. And Sheriff Shields hated the master. The real reason why the Shields really hated the master was because the master had us passing out a newspaper where Shields murdered this motorcycle black driver. And why did he murder him? He was screwing his wife. And we were passing that out in Edenton.
What?
That's why Shields really hate the master teacher. The second place the master, we was walking around Shields' building down there in Edenton one day. It started raining. The master said, y'all did that. Y'all brought the rain by doing what y'all was doing that day. Next place we went was Macon, Georgia. And what they did in Macon, Georgia was they put the master's case in front of the inmates there while they were eating. That he was a child molester. Thinking that the brothers in there would turn against the master. And they forgot that the master had a book program going on. The book program was, if you want our books, we'll send you some free in prison. We'll go to one of the bookstores, and they will send you the books free. Well, some of the brothers had the master's books in there. So as they was putting the master case on, said the brother was going to attack the master, they came up to the master one day and they said, thank you for the books. Nobody is going to touch you in here. That's what the brothers told. Matter of fact, could you give us some classes? And the master started giving them classes. And once he started giving classes in there, they put him in solitary by himself. And in there, he had a visitation. Inky, he said. You know Inky? the Anunnaki.
Mm.
He said Enki came to him in prison there.
Mm.
He said to him, "Are you ready to leave? I came to get you." Master said, "No." He said, "You're not ready to leave?" Master said, "No." "Why not?" The Enki said the same thing they said in New York. "You're not got attached to your student. We came to get you." And then the master said, Enki started naming people by name. He said some people he knew, some people he didn't know, and other people that he mentioned, other people that he knew, Enki didn't mention them. So the master refused to leave like he did in New York. He said the same thing they said in New York. You're not got attached to your students.
Mm.
See?
Mm.
So we there was a time when the master was in Macon, Georgia, and we knew the master was coming that day, so we had quite a bit of our people there that day. Master came in, he had handcuffs on him. We were sitting on both sides of the room in the courtroom. And the master walked in, and they had reporters and everybody in there. And the master came in with his hands, he had shackled, he had handcuffs and everything on. And when we heard his first step into the courtroom, we all shot up on both sides all at once. And they were looking at us, what the? This is what the master did. I'm gonna walk toward you. This is what the master did when he came in. He had shackled his hands, handcuffs on like this, right?
Mm-hmm.
He did this. We were all shot up on both sides instantly, and they couldn't believe it. All the reporters said, what the heck is going on here? Old man is here, that's why. You see? Any questions you got? I'll go back and forth with you.
I got one more. What would you say to the non-believers or to the non-knowers
Of who?
of people who just thought he did it, like he was
The reason why they charged the master teacher that of child molestation, because the devil knows anytime you're dealing with children, you ain't got to have no proof or fact. You know what? I'll make me an example. If they charge me a child molester today and put me on the news, in the papers, you know how many of my friends or people that know me will say Khufu was a child molester?
a lot of them.
Because when you're dealing with children and you say a man molested them, most people will believe it because the devil says so.
Mm-hmm.
Not because it's a fact. The fact is they will believe it without don't even care your side. That's why they charge a master child molestation. See? That's the real reason why. Because they already know fools will believe that. You see?
Mm-hmm.
And then, like what they're doing now, they use it as an excuse if they release the master to tag him. Well, he can't go nowhere without them knowing where he at.
Mm.
That's another reason why they do that. So they want us. What the last situation we had with him coming out was, we want to tell you where to go at. We want to have surveillance in terms of ankle bracelet, or you know where you go. You can't be around children. You can't be around certain neighborhoods. You can't live certain places because of the children.
Mm-hmm.
That's what they want to do to the old man. And that's why they will charge you for child molestation, because even if it's time when they want to let you out, they're still going to restrict you. They definitely don't want them to go to Africa.
They don't want that.
They don't want to go to Africa because they already know what he's capable of building.
Right.
They already saw time already. He had
Exactly.
476 acres of land that he owned. Didn't rent it. He owned that. See? That's why they're afraid of the master. And you got people that are loyal to you. You got students that are very loyal to you. They've been waiting for you for over 20-something years.
Yeah.
That's another reason why.
That's right.
We know if we let you go to Africa free, of any gadget or nothing around you, we know you will redo Tampa Ray bigger than what you did before.
Right.
And then what we're going to say to the people? Is child molesters just built the whole city again? See, they don't want that.
Mm-hmm.
But what they better realize, they say our ancestors is watching you. You have an end, we don't. We don't have an end. See? So they are afraid of the wisest being on this planet. And another thing you better realize, Africa is not the only place. We ran this whole planet before you was here. Africa's not the only place we're from. We were the only beings here for millions of years. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah. Let me tell you something else about the case. The master is a diplomat of Liberia. Charles Taylor was president of Liberia that made the master teacher a diplomat. So, what did they do to Charles Taylor now to prevent him? They got all the documents in the government right now that the master's a diplomat. They already got all the papers and stuff. Let me tell you what they did to Charles Taylor. Charles Taylor was working for the government here at one time. He was sent from the government here to Liberia to be in charge of Liberia, with them being in charge of him.
Right.
The government here.
Mm-hmm.
When Charles Taylor met the master teacher and started talking to the master teacher, this is how the master became a diplomat with him, by him. The master was talking to Charles Taylor and told him things that changed Charles Taylor's whole mindset.
Mm.
And the government here saw that Charles Taylor wasn't listening to them no more. And when they found out, the diplomat is Malachi York, that will let them know, now we see who has changed you from us. See? So George Bush Jr., the same judge, the same president, George Bush Jr., that elected Ashley Royal as the same one that elected Ashley Royal as the judge of the master's case, came in on the air here in America and said, Charles Taylor must leave Liberia.
Right.
So Charles Taylor left Liberia. That's what to keep Charles Taylor from going to the courtroom in this day and time.
Right.
So that's my diplomat there. But you already know that because you got the paperwork right there.
Exactly.
So Charles Taylor left Liberia and went to Nigeria. When he got there, you know what the Liberian government did?
They locked him up.
They locked him up. Where he's at now? There. See? Because that is to prevent Charles Taylor. Your name is already on the paperwork, Charles Taylor.
Mm-hmm.
They already know that. So to say that you have to be there, you got to be there.
No.
They're just playing games with you.
Exactly.
George Bush Jr. was the one that got involved with the master's case. And he was the one that hired a judge for the case. And he's the one that had the property over there, him and Reynolds, who was co-owner there.
Mm-hmm.
The same stuff that the master was already put on Tampa Ray. And they were scared, intimidated, that all the people, including the whites that was coming down on the land. Mm-hmm. We had people riding by every day long. And can we take a tour? Go ahead. I was on security. I used to be one of the ones on security post. Go ahead. See? So the whiteys were coming on the land. Mm-hmm. A bunch of them. So the whiteys liked us, some of them down there. Yeah. Some of them was Ku Klux Klan, like Churchill's and them. Mm-hmm. So yes. They ran Charles Taylor out of Liberia. And they are afraid of the old man because they already see what he could do. You see?
Mm-hmm.
So what they don't know though is that only thing you're doing is let the master know who his real students are.
That's right. That is
Because
right.
some of us, we ain't going nowhere. I don't give a shit what you do or what you say. And we already know, see, somebody's going to step in on you. That's all. We know who it is, too. Who we came from. Who was our parents. They done watched you for a long time doing what you're doing to the master teacher.
Right.
Just like those drones that you was talking about on TV.
Yep.
But you didn't report the ones that was in Colorado, though, did you?
Mm-mm.
The ones that was in Colorado. Who's in Colorado? The old man. Who do you think they were looking for?
The old man.
And know what they found out? They said, you know what? He's in an underground base. Hidden. Way underground. That's what they found out about you.
Mm.
So you got the master of the planet underground in one of your hiding secret hidden places here.
Right.
That's what they found out when they came. They first went to Teaneck, New Jersey,
Mm-hmm.
where the master was first abducted at by the Greys at 9 years old.
Right.
Didn't find him. Then they went to New York, where the temple's at. Wasn't there. Then they found out, oh, he's in Colorado now. Oh, and they came to Colorado. They said he's in an underground facility. See? So, questions?
That's just about it.
Okay.
Zach Muqdal.